Hello, it's Dr. Hope, and you're welcome to today's episode of our Why Wednesdays here at Mercy Grace Medical Aesthetics. Today we are going to be talking about the gut microbiome. So what is the gut microbiome? Last time we spoke about the microbiome being the collection of various fungi, bacteria, and viruses in the body. Anaerobic bacteria are the predominant forms of life in the human body. So what are anaerobic bacteria? Anaerobic bacteria are bacteria that can grow in the absence of oxygen. So the gut microbiome is basically made up of these microorganisms that are in the gastrointestinal tract. Each individual's microbiome, however, varies, and it's based on various factors such as your genetics, your geography, your ethnicity, your diet, forms of therapy like treatment and medications, and so on and so forth. So how does the gut microbiome work? Well, in the intestinal tract, which is basically from your mouth all the way down to the anal region, which is where the poop comes out, in the gastrointestinal tract, the lumen or the content is never sterile. There's always some microorganisms in it. However, the lining of the intestinal tract in healthy individuals is typically free of bacteria. Between the microbiome in the content, as in the lumen of the intestinal tract, and the actual lining, there is a mucus barrier, and that actually helps to separate the microbiome from the lining of the intestinal tract. Now, at each level of the intestinal tract, at each segment, the amount of bacteria that you find varies depending on what's dominant. If suppression of bacteria is dominant, then you will have a low amount of bacteria. If separation is dominant, then you tend to actually find higher amounts of bacteria, where the bacteria is not suppressed, but it's separated from the lining of the tract. For example, in the stomach, the gastric acid barrier actually suppresses the amount of bacteria in the stomach. So you would find relatively smaller number of bacteria in the stomach. In the small intestine, it's a high flow area, so organisms there are usually passing through. Now, if there's anything that interrupts that flow, then you will have overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestine, which can be a problem. In the large intestine, however, there you tend to find a high amount of bacteria, typically 3,000 to 5,000 species of bacteria, and 90% of them are anaerobes. And that's because in the large intestine or in the colon, what you have there is what could not have been digested in the other segments of the intestinal tract. For example, fiber. And you need the bacteria to help you break down that fiber, basically, in the large intestine. So the peristalsis, which is the movement of the intestinal tract, the contraction of the intestinal tract, helps to facilitate the growth of the bacteria and to mix the bacteria with the undigested food items that are in the large intestine. And that, coupled with the reabsorption of water and electrolytes in the colon, is what reduces the mass of the feces in the colon so that you're able to pass it out. Yeah? Okay. So why is this important for you? Well, several factors have been found to play a role in the maintenance of the mucus barrier, and certain things like cigarette smoking or stress can actually disrupt that mucus barrier in the lining of the intestinal tract. And what will happen is the bacteria can then penetrate into the lining of the intestinal tract and spark off a whole immune inflammatory response. And this has been associated with inflammatory arthritis. So there's several inflammatory arthritis that have been linked to the gut microbiome actually penetrating the mucosal barrier in the intestinal tract. Also, the gut microbiome have been linked to certain conditions like obesity, type 2 diabetes, and food allergies as well. But it's not all bad. The gut microbiome actually helps to facilitate the therapeutic potential of certain things that we ingest. For example, if we ingest a lot of vegetables and fruits, then the anthocyanins in the vegetables and fruits help to actually potentiate the growth of beneficial bacteria, which helps to mitigate against inflammation in the intestinal lining. Also, the Mediterranean diet actually has been found to help with protecting against certain chronic conditions by altering the gut microbiome and thereby protecting against things like type 2 diabetes and obesity. So the gut microbiome is proving to be very important in health. Okay, so that's a little nugget about the gut microbiome. Stay tuned to this channel for more as we unravel the mysterious world of the microbiome. But click the link and it'll take you to the blog where you can see a little bit more detail about this, and subscribe so you know when our next video is coming out. But until next time, remember you matter, and I will see you at our next Why Wednesdays. Bye.